Good evening to one and all present here. I welcome you all to Pragnavaridhi lecture series conducted for second year BMS students. Before which I would like to give a small introduction about Panchajanya. Panchajanya, the divine count of Bhagwan Sri Krishna, which was blown during Kurukshetra, indicating the start of Dharma Yuddha that followed. All the efforts were done for the establishment of Dharma. Dharma was kept over personal relations and motives. Keeping the same motive in mind, our organization works towards establishing the importance and necessity of following and imbibing Bharatiya cultures, accepting our roots, and making people realize the true essence of Ayurveda, not only as a treatment modality, but also as a way of life. All this while walking in the path of Dharma. Hence the motto, Shreyam Bharatiyam Arogyam Ayurvediyam. With this aim in mind, I would like to welcome you all to Pragnavaridhi. Today, we have Vaidya Poornima B. Ma'am is presently working as a professor in Department of Dravya Guna and teaching faculty in research and medical statistics for UG and PG at SDM Institute of Ayurveda Hospital, Bengaluru. Ma'am has completed UG in SDM College of Ayurveda and Hospital, Hassan, and MD in KLE Shri BMK Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya PG Studies and Research Center, Belgaum. Ma'am has completed PhD in Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapeeth, Pune on the topic Development of Objective Parameters for Assessment of Taratamatva of Katurasa by Analytical and Experimental Study with reference to Deepana activity. Ma'am has published more than 20 research articles and guided students' projects under RGHS and CCRAS Spark. We welcome you to the session, ma'am. It's a honor to have you in this session. You can continue with the session, ma'am.
Thank you, Pratiksha. The topic for today's session is nomenclature in Dravya Guna as per Nigantu. So, as you all know, plant identification is a part of Dravya Guna, and it's a important aspect for the Dravya Guna, and also it forms the base for Ayurveda also. So, here let's see into the topic of this nomenclature what Nigantus have described. Along with the, you have some points related to Vedic taxonomy as well as identification. As you all know, the identification of plants is done since ages, right? And in your home garden also you'll be having a number of medicinal plants which you might have learned identification from your parents itself, right? So let's see here into this topic. As you all know, Dalhana emphasizes mainly the plant identification, and this knowledge is divided basically into three branches. So this is being described in Sushruta Sutra as Aushadhinam Gnanamapi Nama Rupa Yoga Vedas Trividaha. That is, first is Nama Gnana, that is nomenclature, Rupa Gnana, morphology, and Yoga Gnana, that is therapeutics. And it is said that Yoga Gnana is the ultimate criterion for a physician. But along with this, the base here for the treatment is the Dravya, and the genuinity of the Dravya can be assessed when you have a clear cut knowledge about the identification of medicinal plants as well as the raw drugs. Then what do we mean by Nama and Rupa Gnana? So Nama Gnana is nothing but plant nomenclature. Rupa Gnana goes for morphological identification and utility of plants for medicinal purpose, as well as it gives the names for recognizing, differentiating, and calling them in a particular identity. Like the human beings have their own identification with their names and their own character, even the plants do have the names and their characters. So why this Namagnana is important? So here we find in the Nigantu. So as the topic goes as nomenclature as per the Nigantus, we are taking here one reference from Raja Nigantukara, that is Anama vin moha mupaiti vaidyo na veti pashyannapi beshajani kriya kramo beshajan moolameva tad Beshajam Chapi Nigantu Moolam. So he says that a physician devoid of Namagnana, okay, so that is what we call as the nomenclature, he'll be in a confusion state for the identification of the medicinal plant, which in turn leads for the not able to pick up the right drug for the treatment. So he fails in the identification of the plants, as well as even when we are unable to identify the genuine drug or what we call as according to the pathological conditions what we diagnose in the patient, the proper treatment, the dravya that is required for that, we fail in the treatment. So treatment depends on even the, as we know, medicinal plants, and medicinal plants rely in turn for the nomenclature. Hence, drug acquaintance is a must for the correct identification. So, how and where to obtain this Nama and Rupa Gnana? So, this aspect you find very clearly mentioned in Charaka Sutra, first chapter. It goes like this: Aushadir Nama Rupabhyam Janate Hyajapavane Avipaschaiva Gopascha Ye Chanye Vanavasinaha Na Nama Gnana Matrena Rupa Gnanena Vapunaha Aushadinam Param Prapti Kaschidvetir Mahartihi. So, Charaka says here that the knowledge of the medicinal plants you can get it in certain with certain people, especially the tribals who are living in the forest, because they are much acquainted with the medicinal plants, or rather to say the plants, trees, and even they have the knowledge of which part of the plant to be used for what purpose. Right. So here Charaka says that shepherds and cowherds, they are the one who can give us the knowledge of the medicinal plants. And he tells that mere nama and rupa are insufficient, so importance of aushadha gunagnana is also very essential. So not only identification, its uses and different dosage forms has also to be understood here for the, so to getting the success in the treatment by the vaidya. So again, if you take here one more reference from Sushruta Sutra, tells that Kanda Mula Phala. So the knowledge about this can be got by the tribal and the hermits, because they know in which season which part of the medicinal plant has to be taken and how to use it in various diseases. And even he says that people dwelling near the forest, okay, they have the knowledge about shaka, especially the leafy vegetables or even the leaves of the medicinal plants, how to use it. And merchants are the people who have the knowledge of this commercial drugs, and they know about marketing of these medicinal plants. And non-commercial drugs are also understood by the knowledge which we gain from the hermits and the tribals. So one more aspect you find in Rajanigantukara, so about this, that Abhiru Gopala Pulindi Tapasaha Pantyanasta Anye Apicha Vanyaparaga Pariksham Tebya Vividaushadhabida Rasadi Lakshmani Tataha Prayojayet. What he tells here is that nomenclature is the basis need to call them. So when you want to identify any medicinal plants, you should have the knowledge about that. And the knowledge of the medicinal plant can also be what we call as completed only with the naming of the medicinal plant. And this varies from place to place. You know very well that according to the geographical variations, there would be what we call as the flora varies, right? And there are various local languages prevailing in various parts of the geographical area, so they vary from the place to place about the name of the plant, or it could be, or slightly the morphology may also vary because of the geographical impacts. So various names at different places are there, hence the importance is also given for the vernacular names. So whenever you are studying in Dravya Guna any medicinal plants, it is also important, I think you might have come across one heading is there called as vernacular names. The importance of the vernacular names goes with what we call as identification and the knowledge that you can obtain from the particular local people. This problem even then and even now. What this sentence means here, that so there are what we call as variation in the names, you call it according to the local language, there may be different names. And also identification of the medicinal plants, the key characters, it varies from place to place. Okay, so it is very necessary that you identify proper medicinal plant with the good what we call as, or nothing but the morphological characters, they play a very important role. And they even this, there is a term called as controversy in the medicinal plants. It is because of the improper identification or different uses of the same plants and not proper documentation. Hence this problem is then and even now that is prevailing about the identification of the medicinal plants, the controversy that arises, as well as regarding the source, the botanical source of the medicinal plant. There is some difference of opinion according to the different location. For example, the Daru Haridra in the North India we use Berberis aristrata, but the South Indian source of Daru Haridra is, you have this Cocinium fenestratum. Next, coming to here, Dravya Namakarana Adhara. What is the basis for the nomenclature? And you also come across one method was through Paryaya. Paryaya means through the synonyms. Also, the identification were made. And Shabda Kalpadruma also focuses on this, that which follows a particular order, or words related to each other are taken as the Paryaya. So when we take here the basis of the nomenclature, the term synonym comes. Syn refers for alike and noma refers for the name. The word that means exactly or nearly the same as the another. In this context refers to the description of a single plant. Okay, so single plant having various names, and these names can be given based on the properties, morphological characters, or some names which are coming in the Rudi since ages. So, thus, synonyms are based on the various parameters related to the plant. So, what is the utility of paryaya in morphological identification? When we take here, synonyms follow different trends and format, and also based on various factors. Just now I told about the synonyms based on morphological characters, it can be, or even based on the medicinal properties, or some Rudinama it can be, or based on Prabhava, or based on Rasa, Virya, etc. Right. So it covers various aspects of the drug, and relating to nomenclature, identification, pharmacodynamics, or based on even the therapeutics, it can be. So here comes one important reference which is much needed for your exam point of view as well as for the understanding the nomenclature. The reference goes from Rajanigantukara, Namanihi Kvachidiha, Ruditaha, Swabhavat, Deshoktya Kvachinaha, Cha Lanchanopamabhyam, Viryena Kvachiditara Deshat, Dravyanamiva Vibhajanam Saptadoditani. So Rajanigantukara says that there are 7 criterias based on which the plants are named. That is Rudi, Deshokta, Upama, Itarahvaya, Swabhava, Lanchana, and Virya. So if whatever the plants we find synonyms or the nomenclature will be coming in these criterias. So you have here examples which you can understand for these terms like Rudi. Rudi is nothing but the naming given since ages, passed on from mouth to mouth without any particular specific meaning to that. Like for example, Shonyaka is called as Tuntuka, Apamarga is called as Kinihi. These two names have come from the parameter called Rudi. Okay. Next we have Swabhava. This is describes plants innate familiar therapeutic activity. So you have Agaru being called Crimija because it is formed with the worm infestation, right? And Langali is known for its abortifacient property, and hence it has got the name as Garba Noth. Next we have Deshokta. So based on the source or habitat, we have like Chandana, it is called as Malayaja because it grows in Western Ghats. You have Punarnava, which is called as Varshabu because it grows in the rainy season. Next, based on Virya, we have what we call as the based on the potency, right? So Udumbara, because of Shita Virya, it is called Shita Valkala. Shunti, because of its Virya, it is also called as Ushana. And you have Itarahvaya, so it goes for miscellaneous category like Vari, Pura given for Shatavari and Gugulu. And for Lanchana, if you take here, Arjuna is called as Dhavala. So it describes specific morphological features of the plant or the part used, because here Dhavala refers for the bark, which is whitish externally. Then Ela, it has three surfaces, right? So hence it is called as Triputa. Then we have Upama. So this is nothing but what we call as similarity. So based on certain simile, comparison of the plant parts to the similar looking plants or the animals is made. Like for example, Atibala, the fruit looks like a comb. So you can see here, right? The fruits of Atibala is looking like a comb. So hence it is called as Kankatika. And Eranda, the leaf is palmately compound. So you can see here, it looks like the fingers of the palm, right? Hence it is called as Panchangula. So thus here the basis for synonyms and nomenclature when we study here, so it is based on the parts of the plant it can be, or pertaining to terrestrial or even aquatic. It can be based on even habitat, like for example Malayaja was there, right? And then identification based on even it can be organoleptic study like Amlika, Swaduparni, or Ashwagandha, Ajagandha, Gandha Prasarini. And based on appearance we have Rakta Chandana because reddish in color, right? And Swarnakshiri because the latex is yellowish color, yellowish golden. And Dusparsha because you cannot touch that, right? So and Namaskari, so when you touch it, it folds. Then you also have Katankati, so because it produces the sound. So thus here when we look into all these examples, we come to know that there are various characters based on which the synonyms as well as the nomenclature to the plant is being done. So we have here a few references, recent ones like Professor Gnanendra Pandey, who is one of the pioneers in the field of Dravya Guna, has written a book called as System of Plant Nomenclature in Ayurveda. So in this, you find that there is analysis of the various medicinal plants based on the nomenclature, and it brings out 57 base groups. A few of them we have taken here, like parts of the plant, like Pushpa, it is called Karamanjari, Agnishika, because here in Apamarga you find the spiny spike, right? And Langal, you can see here Agnishika because it is bright red in color. And when you take Phala here, so Aragvada, so it is called Dhirga Phala. You can see the pointer here. I'm pointing towards the Aragvada fruit. It is called Dhirga Phala because it is elongated in nature. Then Arka, the fruit of Arka is like Shuka Phala, or it is like a beak of the parrot. Then you have Bija, Danta Bija. So you can see here like the tooth. So the Dadima Bija, right? Then Indrayava, so Kutaja seeds, right? You can see here Indrayava, the shape of the Yava. Then we come across Patra. In the Patra, we can take the example of Bahupatrika, that is Shigru is tripinately compound. You can see here. Then you have Changeri, right? I think all of you know this very well, right? Oxalis corniculata. It is, when you taste it, it is sour in taste, right? Hence, it is called as Amla Patraka. Then one more example when we take here based on Prabha, that is the color Manjista. So this is Manjista root. You can see here it is called Raktanga, and even Ativisha roots. So it is called as Shvetakanda. Then based on Gandha, if you take here Vacha, so it is Ugra Gandha because it is very Tikshna in nature, and Ashwagandha because the plant emits a peculiar characteristic odor. Then even Hingu, it is called as Balhika because you know very well in Arab countries it is found in the dry region. So Utpasti Sthana is Balhika, hence it is called as Balhika. And you have based on Upama, so Matsya Shakala, it is given for Katuki, and Khadira Patraka, it is for Lajjalu. So Khadira leaves will be like this only, or Lajjalu resembles the Khadira leaves. Then we have here even Haritaki being called with the auspiciousness because it is also called as Amruta, right? So because of its n number medicinal properties or the therapeutic property it has, Charaka calls it as Shiva, and Jyotishmati is called as Saraswati because it is Medhya in nature. Then based on Mahakavya, like you have the comparisons or with the some special characters, it is being defined. So refers to the mythological figures like Lakshmana, Arjuna, right? Lakshmanaka it is called, or Kuru Viraka for Arjuna, and Muchakunda. So this is Muchakunda, it is called Lakshmanaka, and this is called as Kuru Viraka. And we also have here Bodhi Vriksha Kalidruma. So Kalidruma for Vibhitaki, Bodhi Vriksha for Ashwatha. You know very well why it is called as Bodhi Vriksha, right? Because the Lord Buddha got enlightenment under this tree, and Vibhitaki, it is said that it gives shelter to the Lord Kali Mahadevi. So this is the name which is originated, say, from the Puranas. Okay, so even see textbooks or ancient texts, the Puranas, Vedas serve as a source for the identification of the medicinal plants. Even based on Akruti, like Gola Phala, Madana Phala is Gola, round. And you have Ati Bruhat Phala for the Panasa, very big in size or large fruit. Then, sorry, another name for Bilva, it is called as Shandilya, and Gugulu is called as Kaushika. So, Rishi Munis have called it as Kaushika. I hope all you are able to follow. Am I audible? Are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So next, one more aspect when you take here, dharmika karma, because of its usefulness in some auspicious procedures, right? So here you find kadira being called as yagnanga because it is used in the yajna, right? And tila is used in the homa, right? So it is called as homa danya. So you have yajnanga and homa danya for kadira as well as tila. Then Abhushana. So this goes for Ashoka. You can see the flowers of Ashoka. So you have reddish flowers as well as yellowish flower. This is one more variety. What you can see here, the picture. Okay, the flower is used as even the ornament. It is also called as Karnapuraka. Then even you have Ayuda Shastra. So based on that, that is leaf splits like an arrow. Sharapunka. So if you take the leaf of a Sharapunka and just try to tear it, it breaks like a Shastra itself. So hence it is called as Sharapunka. And Jyotishmati is called as Panya because it was considered as a trade or article. Okay, the Jyotishmati Taila is extracted out of the bija, and hence it was the article of the trade since ages. Then Rudi and Parampara. Based on this, we find traditional use of Akarapa, Karaba, and Karjura. So Akalaka and Suleimani. These are the names that were given since ages. Thus, naming is on the meaningful basis, and this all sheds the lights on the identity. So, coming back to here, one more aspect that we come across present day. So, all of you heard of taxonomy, right? So, this nomenclature is an important part of taxonomy, and it determines the correct name to know the plant. So, Swedish naturalist Carl Linnaeus, right? So, he came up with the species planatorium and described in Latin with the limited to 12 words, he said, and polynomials as the proper names. And what is the modern plant nomenclature if you take here? So all of you know very well, whenever you are writing the botanical name, it should be Latinized, and usually it has two parts, right? One is genus or generic name, and specific epithet, that is the species name will be there. So basis of nomenclature, if you take generic name, it will be descriptive, aboriginal, or honor of a person, have come from various or many sources. Like it can be, for example, honor of a person on Bohemia brothers, it is called Bohemia. Then specific feature, xanthoxylum, because of the yellow wood, or the land of discovery like Nilambu, it goes for Ceylonese. And even on the base of the fancy names like Nymphia refers to the beautiful water nymphs. So, specific epithet indicates distinguishing feature of each plant in genera. It may be derived from various sources also. And you know very well rules for writing botanical name already, right? So you have here generic name. It's a noun. Hence, capital letter should be the initial one, and specific epithet with the small initial letter, right? And when you are typing it, it should be in italics, so you can underline it, typed or written. And what are the limitations of synonym if you take here? So sometimes synonyms create more confusion than clarity, it is said. And botanists desire morphological characters for the identification. So whenever you want a plant identification from the botanist, they even ask the flowers, because the what we call as the reproductive organs that are present in that androecium and gynoecium, there will be very specific for the particular genus and species. And Nigantu names which are prevalent during their time and region are also adopted. And addition of new terms and repetition often contradict one another. This is one more aspect. And even you find that same synonyms of different plants like Amruta, even you find it for Haritaki, Vibitaki, Guduchi, Haimavati for Vacha and also for Haritaki, Langali to Kapikachu, Narikela, and Madhuparni to Guduchi, Gambari, like many drugs which cannot be identified. Okay, they lack the morphological synonyms, and synonyms at many instances have led to sometimes the controversy even in the identification. So one more aspect when we come for here identification is the Vedic taxonomy. So, this Vedic taxonomy is the world's only plant naming system that uses the Sanskrit language. And this plant identification system is the closest to the plant's morphology, standardizing the process of developing undisputed plant names. So, you know very well, there are four Vedas, right? So, when you refer to those Vedas, you come across number of medicinal plants that were used during those period, and they have even named those plants. So the Vedic taxonomy method simplifies the recognition and even the labeling of the plants. So this Vedic taxonomy, the use of that is that it has helped the scientists to develop accurate names of herbal plants instead of forging names in ambiguity. And this method resolves the age-old problem of modern taxonomy. So whenever you have some difficulty in naming, right, of the some new or unidentified plant till now, so you can use this Vedic taxonomy methods. The current classification system does not adhere to a sophisticated pattern of naming. Okay, so you can see that there are n number of what we call as the uses of the medicinal plant mentioned along with the examples we looked into, and also about the focusing them. Okay, so you can see that there are n number of what we call as the uses of the medicinal plant mentioned along with the synonyms are also mentioned. Even after that, Ashtanga Nigantu, one of the important Nigantus, and also you have Dhanvantari Nigantu. So Dhanvantari Nigantu also gives the synonyms for the medicinal plants. So, with this, we shall conclude the session. Any queries you have, it is most welcome. So, whatever I focused here is about the naming of the medicinal plants in the Nigantus. So, we just looked into very detailed way about the Raja Nigantukara. So, the seven criteria that he has explained. So, along with the examples we looked into, and also some aspects related to the modern taxonomy, and also about the Vedic taxonomy. So students, you can also go through the some of the research articles that are pertaining to this nomenclature, which gives you idea about how the things are analyzed and studied in the nomenclature. So just a minute, I'll just focus on that aspect of what we call as the research article. Is it visible screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So here you can see a article that focuses on the what we call as the nomenclature, from Vedic text to linear nomenclature, evolution of plant classification. So you can see here the research scholar has focused here about what we call as ancient Indian Sanskrit texts from Vedic period offer insights into early botanical classification predating those of Latin and Greek scholars, right? And this article focuses meticulously on what we call as the cataloged various plant species but also documented their medicinal properties, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of botany and pharmacology. So here this article completely focuses on, like, for example, you can see the classification of the dravyas, what you find since the Vedic period, which you have studied even in the Dravya classification. And also Manu classified plants into 8 groups. So this is how the namings were done. Right, and you can see, for example, Gulma, the name was given for succulent plants, right, and Trina for the grasses. And plant morphology in Atharva Veda, so you can see here, like Stambini for bushy plants, then Prasthanavati for which expands, right, and Amshumati which may has many stalks. So like this, the very detailed explanation is given. So you can go through this article. If you want, we'll share this also. I think you can note down this: International Journal of Novel Research and Drug Development, right? uh, this is an open access journal. The title goes as From Vedic Text to Linear Nomenclature, Evolution of Plant Classification. So we came across these things, right? So you can go through this. So all these are the classifications what we find, and the naming that we find for the plants based on various characters. Like even Manjari is given leaves with long clusters, then Vishaka, that is spreading branches, and Prathanavati, creeping plants, and Kandini, plant with knotty joints, right? So, and even they have highlighted about Vrukshayurveda, which is known as a science of medicinal plants. Okay, and this text covers morphology, anatomy of the plants, as well as the classification, and also how to cultivate the medicinal plants with the organic farming, and much more details you can find there, even along with the synonyms also. And even you have here one more article. Yes, plant biology of Yajurveda. So this article also focuses on significance of the medicinal plants in Vedas. Okay, then even what we call as botanical description of Yajurveda. It focuses along with Veda introduction, significance of trees in the Vedas. So even it gives as also it focuses on Vedic rituals and plant biological products, plant biology knowledge in the Veda Samhita, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads, as well as you also find here ritualistic significance of plants. So ritualistic significance of plants. So where like seven Samhitas, agriculture, crops, plants, and trees revealed in the Vedic